What's up, everybody? We have a big show for you today. Great show. It's a travel show. As you can see, I'm in this hotel room in Yakima, Washington with my guy, the Camerai over here. Here, I'll put the camera on him real quick because he's fighting in the main event.
Let's freaking go. Co-main, you already know what time it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Welcome to the live.
Whoa. Hey, welcome. He said welcome to the live, y'all.
Welcome to the live.
Hey, Cam weighed in today. He made weight, so we are rehydrating. Felony Charles Bennett in the building, hopping on. Guys, you are in good company if you are on the live right now. You got MMA legend, Felony Charles Bennett. I got myself a Zevia right here. This one's got 34 milligrams of caffeine. I'm probably at 500-600 milligrams today, guys. You know, it's a travel day. We don't have access to all the accoutrement that we usually do, but we're going to get it in for you. And tonight's big topic, Brandon Schaub is pissed off. He's going in. The guy is raging, man, and he's going scorched earth, guys. So we're going to get into that as the main topic. Also, your favorite MMA character, Mike Perry, says he is going to take Nate Diaz down. I highly advise against that. I have some insider knowledge, as we talked about in the previous video, the previous live from yesterday. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into what these guys are getting paid at Netflix. Allegedly, it's big money. You know, I'm hearing rumors of what Nate turned down. The UFC offered him a big bag. I got a number I'm going to tell you guys for Conor McGregor, for Nate Diaz to fight Conor McGregor. Nate turned it down. He went to Netflix. So we got to speculate as to what Netflix is going to pay him. The number is very big. It's bigger than what other reports have been saying. So we're going to get into all that. And, you know, if we have time, maybe we'll talk flat earth, you know? I mentioned flat earth the other day in a reel, and all of a sudden in a live, and now I'm getting reels in my suggestions. And it's pretty crazy out there, man. You know, some people would say we're living on a flat earth in a dome. It's called the firmament. There's an ice wall. We're going to get into all that, guys. And it sounds crazy. And I'm not saying, I mean, obviously we live on a globe, guys. But, I mean, or do we? I'm just playing. We're going to get into all that. And, you know, before we get started, real quick, if you like the craziest, freakiest fights on the planet, go check out Fight Circus. They've got whatever you need. You want little people fighting. You want giant fighting 3 smaller people. You want intergender LGBTQIA plus match with a dude and someone who used to be a dude but is now a chick, I guess, over in Thailand, fighting for real. You want fights with headbutts. Man, you want Rampage Jackson versus Bob Sapp in a t-shirt going against 2 other guys in a t-shirt. You know, Fight Circus has that for you guys. Make sure you check out Fight Circus. Hit them up on Instagram. Tell them King David MMA sent you. Let's go. Furthermore, I want you to imagine your gym happy, like filled with students. Your gym owner's happy, your coach is thrilled, and it's all because you told him to go to StudioMillions.com. He's got his arm around you, $100 bills are raining down from the ceiling, and it's all because of you. Send your coach to StudioMillions.com. They will pack your gym with students who stay, pay, and refer. Let's get right into the show. I'm not even going to crack this Zevia open right now. This one's warm. We got a bunch in the fridge. We have a little refrigerator in the room. No microwave, though. No microwave. So we're not going to get the radiation from the microwave, guys. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of no microwave. Oh man, the camera came through with the crispy. Let's go, man. It's 11:11 at night. We're going to get 34 more milligrams of caffeine in. I'm your host, King David MMA. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a pro MMA champion, and I coach at Extreme Couture. So we're going to talk MMA to start. Brandon Schaub is pissed. He's done like 3 shows in a row now, going in on the UFC over fighter pay, over Netflix, over the fact that we're not getting the fights that we want, in his opinion. And he's kind of going scorched earth, man. He says if they continue at this rate, Paramount is going to ruin the UFC. He believes Dana is chilling in the back. He equated it to being on like a ship or a yacht where, like, you know, he's not piloting the ship anymore. He's in the back drinking champagne. And I've heard a couple people say similar things. I also understand that they have an obligation to their shareholders, so they might be prioritizing securing the bag and making sure that they're happy with the $7 billion deal before they start making it rain on everybody. But Brendan Schaub, he is advocating for more fighter pay. He says that Netflix is scooping up great fights, great matchups. Obviously, these aren't the top best guys on the planet, but they're big names and that they could be a serious competitor and a threat to the UFC. The problem is they don't have depth of talent, but who knows what the future holds, man. They just signed Nate Diaz and Mike Perry a couple days ago, and Mike Perry is going on interviews. Mike Perry is talking about the fact that he will take Nate Diaz down. He says he's going to send elbows through Nate's face. He says it's going to be a violent match. And I like Mike Perry from every interaction that I've had with him in person. If I were his coach, his corner, or his trusted advisor, I would be adamant that I would under no circumstances take Nate Diaz down. How do I know this? Because right around when Cowboy Cerrone tapped out Mike Perry in the UFC, I trained with Cowboy Cerrone, and while he's like a good grappler for a striker in MMA, if that makes any sense. Like, he's good. He's not a slouch or anything like that, but Nate Diaz beat Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall took third at ADCC, and Nate beat him before then. But, these guys are already on trajectories, right? There's levels. Like, if you're winning Pan Ams at purple belt and you win Pan Ams at brown belt, you're going to be in contention at black belt. So it's very similar. The guys who are the best at one belt level often are the best at the next belt level, and then they're in the top tier once they go black belt. So Nate beat Ryan Hall. I've trained with Ryan Hall. There are levels in jiu-jitsu. Ryan Hall is at the top level or literally one step outside of it. He took a bronze at ADCC. That's much different. And if Nate beat him shortly before he took the bronze at ADCC, Nate's grappling has to be on point. I trained with Jake Shields at Extreme Couture. Man, Jake is a problem, bro. And if he's coming from the same gym, if that's the level of grappling they have, no way, Mike Perry. Stop telling people you're going to shoot a takedown. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody advises you to do that. And nobody in their right mind who has any cross-section of grappling experience with the best guys and the UFC guys and the ADCC champions. And if you've trained with no-gi black belt world champions, and you've trained with gi black belt world champions, and you've trained with guys in the UFC, you know what you're feeling. And if one guy who is not at the black belt world champion level is tapping out Mike Perry, and Nate is beating a dude who's competing with black belt world champions and, getting on the medal stand at ADCC, bro, he's got to be capping. I honestly, I'm torn because the jiu-jitsu side of me wants Nate to shoot in if he gets stuff, pull half guard, sweep, get on top, ground and pound, sink a rear naked choke when Mike Perry goes to turtle. Get him out of there in the first round. But I actually would like to see Mike Perry keep it on the feet, Nate not shoot, and let's have some fun, guys. You want to talk the real BMF? You guys want to say that Charles Oliveira should get stripped? I agree. Strip him of the BMF. Strip Charles Oliveira. The real BMF might be on Netflix. It might be Mike Perry versus Nate Diaz. If I was Nate's coach, I'd advise him to shoot and get the fight over with. But as a fan of both of these guys, man, I want them to bang it out. I want to see some freaking blood, guys. I want to see a kickboxing match in 4-ounce gloves. I want to see the unofficial people's BMF. Like the official, for the people, it's the official BMF. But it's the unofficial BMF. You get what I'm saying? I want to see the people's BMF. I want to see Mike Perry, Nate Diaz bang it out. Speaking of Nate, man, rumors are circulating. The UFC offered him big money, very big money. And this comes from somebody in the know. Josh the Punk Thompson, who is, I believe, the only person to KO Nate Diaz. He head kicked him right over his guard back in the day. And he has very, very legitimate sources. He has got deep insider information, and he says that they offered Nate approximately 8 figures to fight Conor, and then multi-millions every fight after that. Nate went with Netflix. So that can allow us to speculate. Here's what I'm going to infer. right? Here's some hypotheticals for you guys to ponder, to consider, to take under advisement. Why did Nate not take the $10 million bag or the close to $10 million bag? Is it because he didn't want to be exclusive? Is it because Netflix just flat out paid him more? Or is it because he's got a strategy, which is non-exclusive Netflix deal, go collect, let's call it 5 to 10 mil against an opponent that may not be as challenging as Conor or Dustin Poirier in Mike Perry, because he has a very clear path to victory with Mike Perry. Go get that money and then remain a free agent. In addition to that money, they might get 50 million viewers on Netflix. They might get, even if they get 25 million viewers, do you know how much brand exposure that is for Nate Diaz? Do you know the kinds of sponsorships that he could potentially get, the kind of deals? He could be in movies potentially. He's working with Netflix. In addition, if he goes to renegotiate with the UFC after the Netflix deal, he has more power because he's an even bigger star. And Netflix is going to offer him something. Misfits is going to offer him something. BKFC is going to offer him something. UFC will most likely offer him at least what they offered him before. They want him to be exclusive, and Nate can run this up. So people are alleging that he may have gotten $10 million to do this fight. I've heard the number's 3. I don't believe it's only 3. I think it's more than 3. But, because like, honestly, could you really turn down $10 million if they offered you 3, even though it's non-exclusive? You must really think you're going to get like a $20 million bag next. But you're turning down 10, right? So, like, is that the play that he played out? I don't know. I also heard a rumor. This is a crazy rumor. This is purely nonsense, that Mike Perry's getting 10 mil too. That's what I heard. Zero calories in the Zevia. I absolutely don't believe Mike Perry's getting $10 million. I believe Mike Perry's probably getting $1 million or $800K or something like that. That's what I think. And that's based on the fact that, from what I heard, that would be larger than what he has gotten paid recently in BKFC. So, $1 million, go out there, strike with Nate Diaz, try and stuff some takedowns, maybe put hands on him, KO him, big win, big opportunity, big sponsorship money, big audience. We might be seeing the next level for one of these guys. These guys might be beyond household names. We spoke about Schaub briefly, yeah, but I can, we can get back into that. He's popping off, man. He had some real hot takes over his last 3 shows where he's just, man, he's going in on the UFC. He's talking about they're making deals. That's still a lot of money, yeah. So Schaub even said, and he didn't say who, he just said that sometimes the UFC will literally offer someone a bad matchup because the person offering the fight is friends with the person's girlfriend. Like, he's implying they're that petty. He's implying that they're that vindictive. He's implying that they're that, like, out to get fighters. Which, listen, I've cornered for the UFC. That's never been my experience. I've met Dana several times. Dana follows me on Instagram. I'm friendly with the marketing director at the UFC. I've met Sean Shelby out, in public. Spent Thanksgiving with the dude, hanging out, like, not at his house or anything like that, but just like out in public. We're at the same place. We have mutual friends, whatever. It's all chill. Everybody's been super cool to me. It's been the most professional promotion I've ever been around. Listen, when you come to these regional shows, there's like one thing that they do well, and this other show does one thing well, and this other show does one thing well. But the UFC is like, exactly where to be, when to be there, who's going to take you. There's a driver. It's a well-oiled machine. No stone is left unturned. And Brandon may have had a different experience with the UFC. He also started speaking out against the UFC. He's got a lot of past history with the UFC. He's absolutely like crashing out on his recent episodes. He's he's heated, guys. He thinks fighters should get paid more. He wants to see John Jones fight. He thinks that, a lot of these fights that are at Netflix should have been in the UFC. He's saying that, UFC is allowing Netflix an opportunity to have a better card than the White House card. He's disappointed in the White House card. He's going in. He's going in. And, it's kind of funny to see, especially because he's in this weird position where he's doing stand-up comedy, but a lot of people don't take him seriously over the stand-up because he's friends with Joe Rogan and they think that he kind of got handed a comedic name in a way. But the dude's fought in the UFC. He beat like Crow Cop, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he's super legit as a fighter and he's got insider information. So sometimes you have to pay attention to his takes, but he's also salty and he's also mad at the UFC. And he says that that's a bridge that he burned and he's never going to get it back. So now he's going in on the other side. So what are his actual motivations? I assume his actual motivations are he wants to see fighters get compensated very well. He also, here's more Brendan Schaub news. He says that he would have done TRT in the UFC, but he couldn't afford it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I've heard TRT's like $300 a month. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I've heard if you want to get on the other stuff like the HGH and everything, in addition to the testosterone, that's going to be closer to like a G or two, depending on how much you want to do. But $300 a month, I hope, for someone who was fighting probably, what was he, like top 10 in the UFC at some point? Probably doable. Probably doable. So who knows, man? He also played in the NFL, guys. You think he played in the NFL, Natty? We are in a unique space, man. What I've noticed too is that a lot of people will accuse each other of performance-enhancing drugs or speak on performance-enhancing drugs, and then it turns out that they're the ones that were doing it. It's just it's a weird space, man. I believe almost everybody's on them, and I'm not sure why somebody who's fighting for multi-millions of dollars who can afford a doctor to do their blood work every freaking day if they want and have the best scientists. Like when Connor brought in, competitive cycling is the dirtiest sport in the world. When Lance Armstrong popped for performance-enhancing drugs, they were going to give the gold medal to the next guy. But they couldn't give it to the next guy because the next, I think it was 17 people also popped. So in order to give the gold medal to somebody, they had to go to 18th or 28th place or something to find somebody who pissed clean. Conor McGregor brought in the Irish or whatever cycling coach for the Olympic team to be his strength and conditioning guy for MMA. It's what? And the dude starts looking like a specimen, and obviously he broke his leg in that Dustin Poirier fight, and he's pretty much admitted that he was on, an enhancement protocol to heal faster. But man, I mean, I would say half to 70% of the UFC is juicing. And I don't even really have a problem with it. Some people have a problem with it. So it's twofold, right? You don't want to see somebody get kicked in the head who's not on juice by somebody who's on juice, right? That's kind of fucked up. But if two dudes are both going to juice and they both want to roll the dice and he knows that guy's on juice and that guy knows he's on juice and they're consenting adults, then it's as somebody watching, you're kind of well, I do want to see the kicks come faster. I do want to see the punches have more power. I do like watching people hit 50 home runs in a season, so at some point, it's almost if it was just made legal, everybody would do it, right? But then it's do we really want that? Do we want a bunch of juiced up cyborg freaking superhumans fighting? Is that what we want to teach the youth? So it's a dilemma, right? Anyways, Brendan Schaub says he never did it because he couldn't afford it. And, he did play in the NFL. So whatever you guys want to infer from that conversation is interesting. He does admit that he's on it now, though. So, whatever, man. Who are we to judge? I'm on borderline 1,000 milligrams of caffeine today. I can't judge anybody. I got my own things going on over here. Caffeine and combat, that's what we like. So, I mentioned flat earth. And I started getting a bunch of flat earth reels. Man, guys, if you didn't know better and you started getting flat earth reels, these people are freaking compelling, man. And it sounds like the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life. Like if you haven't seen the reels, you go, how could anybody ever believe that? And then you start watching the reels and you're like, whoa, I did not know that. I did not know that we can zoom in on the moon with our smartphone, but NASA can't zoom in on Earth from the moon? That the only pictures we have of planet Earth are composites? Well, why is that? And then, and it goes so freaking deep. I don't want to ruin it for you guys. If you guys want to have some fun with a conspiracy theory that's clearly not true, guys, definitely not true, go look that up. Look up flat Earth, man. You get a kick out of it'll be quite intriguing. They start talking about flight paths. They start talking about why airplanes don't adjust for the curvature of the Earth. And then, here's the issue. As fun as flat Earth can be, right? And obviously we're on a platform that promotes that we're living on a globe. So obviously we're on a globe, guys, right? But as fun as flat Earth can be, if you look up the reels, then you start getting crazier and crazier and crazier reels, right? They're like, oh, well, if you like this, well, what about this one? There's people living in the center of the Earth, and then they go on to the next one. And, the most recent one I got is that Africa is Skull Island, and the entire continent of Africa is a giant's head. A giant died, and the giant was the size of, his head was the size of a continent. You know what I mean? And then you go, okay, guys, maybe you're pushing a little far, right? I was with you when, like you said, that, the Bible said there was a firmament, and then, I was with you guys when, you said that, oh, well, how come we can look at ships going over the horizon with our eyes and it looks like they're disappearing over the curvature of the globe, but if we have binoculars or a telescope, we can zoom in and we can still see them. And I'm like, why is that? I don't know. Maybe I don't understand science, guys. I'm not a scientist. But when you start telling me that Africa is a giant's head, then you lose me, guys. And I reserve the right to change my mind. So a year from now, if it turns out that that's true, right? Okay, hey, I stand corrected. But for right now, based on the information I have, I think it's highly unlikely that the continent of Africa is a giant's head. But if you start watching flat Earth reels, you might start getting suggested things like that. So just, proceed at your own risk, y'all. So yeah, I definitely don't think Mike Perry should shoot on Nate Diaz. I think Nate Diaz will tap him probably within 30 seconds of it going to the ground, especially if Mike took him down and he's in Nate's guard. I know what everybody says, oh, never be on bottom. So Nate Diaz is a Gracie black belt. A lot of the Gracie system has a self-defense basis. So I was training with Chris Holdsworth before he moved to Team Alpha Male. And Chris had a Gracie jiu-jitsu background. And a lot of what he was doing, gi and no gi, was very, very MMA self-defense related. And so because the Gracie system starts with that from the beginning, and they don't start with X-guard and barambolos and, right? They start with here's how to break someone's posture. Here's how to not get hit. Here's how to, Nate Diaz started with that. He grew up on that. And so it's a very, very different guard type when you have a world-class self-defense, world-class MMA guard. Very few people on planet Earth have that. Nate Diaz has that. And if Mike Perry wants to feel that for the first time inside his Netflix fight in the cage, that's not the first time you want to feel that. You can go with jiu-jitsu black belts. You can go with really good dudes. You can go with guys who do well as jiu-jitsu competitors. Even black belt competitors. But if they have a sport jiu-jitsu mentality, it's much, much different than a Gracie self-defense jiu-jitsu black belt. Started from the guard, now we're here. Very different. And so it all feels the same maybe. If you're new, you don't know what's going on, you're just getting submitted, whether it's sports jiu-jitsu or self-defense jiu-jitsu. But when it comes down to taking someone down who has that self-defense Gracie jiu-jitsu background, man, Nate's gonna sub him, guys. Here's furthermore. I'm not just speculating, right? The reason why Nate's gonna sub him is because Mike Perry bounced to bare knuckle. So for all these years, like, Mike Perry has been on a meteoric rise in bare knuckle. I would imagine he's training more boxing than he is jiu-jitsu. And now he gets this fight, and within 6 months, he's gonna catch up to Nate Diaz. It's like, that's not reality. But I believe Nate's gonna stand with him. I believe we're gonna get the People's BMF. I believe it's gonna be a banger. And I believe if it stays on the feet, Mike Perry might crack him. So I'm fucking excited for that fight. Anyways, guys, before I start raging out on, martial arts theory and crash out like Brendan Schaub, I just want to say, man, we're out here traveling. Cam's fighting tomorrow. I'm not going to stay on the live too much longer. Shout out to Felony Charles Bennett. Shout out to everybody that popped on the live. Appreciate you guys. I'm seeing you guys pop on consistently. The consistent viewership means a lot to me. Every single chat helps. Every single comment helps. And if you guys want to go roast some dweebs in the comments, there's plenty of dweebs in the comments for you to roast. Go bang on them. I support my real ones. If people are acting stupid in the comments, I fully give my full endorsement to tell them that they're weenies. All right. Anyways, Fight Circus, Studio Millions. I love you guys. Cam's going to get a dub tomorrow. Peace out.